and welcome to episode 16 of the Orkney Series. Now, we are actually filming this in December. It is beautiful sunshine.
We're going to get done for false advertising soon.
It's not warm though, it's quite cold. Orkney is always beautiful and sunny, so do remember that when you come and visit. It's not us that has the bad weather, you've brought it with you. So we are out in the West Mainland today in front of Kirbuster Farm Museum, and it's been kept the way it originally used to be. You can go in and see how folk used to live, the beds, the box beds, the fire, they always have it on, it's just so lovely. And there are a few museums like this, so when you come it's a must visit in Orkney to really see how folk used to live here.
Over the course of the Orkney series, we've mentioned one or two things about Orkney folklore, but not nearly enough considering how much there is. So this time we thought we would dedicate a whole episode to it.
We sure did, and both of us, we grew up with folklore. It's like, it's here, it's prevalent in Orkney society and we love it. And yeah, it's like stories about giants,
Selkies,
trowies,
mermaids,
and fin folk. There's there's so many, and each one's just so interesting to listen to. And it was all from like days gone by when, well, we didn't have TV, we didn't have magazines. There's obviously the odd newspaper here and there, but folk would get together and sit round a fire. Instead of watching a movie, they'd sit round a fire and tell stories of all this sort of magical element that we have in our community. And do
you know what, Jay? That sounds like a really good thing to do.
You guys are in for a treat. We are delighted to be joined today by our very special guest, Tom Muir. He is reviving folklore and storytelling in Orkney. So he is here to tell us the story of the Hogboon of Hoolie. Let's go inside before it starts raining. Yep.
Now, in the island of Sandy, there's a parish called Burness. And in Burness, there's a fern called Hoolie, which means the Holy Mound. And there was a big mound there. And in the mound, there lived a Hogboon. Now, a Hogboon was a creature like the fairy folk, but he would help out on the farm and he would bring good luck and prosperity to the farm as long as you shared the produce with it. Any butter or cheese or milk or ale was poured over the mound as an offering to the Hogboon. And if you didn't do that, oh boy, you were in trouble. Now, the man of Hoolie married, and his wife would have nothing to do with Hogboons, didn't believe in them. So the Hogboon gied unfed. He was neglected. He was sitting there in his mound waiting for his food to turn up. He never did. And then he got to thinking, well, maybe something's wrong. Maybe they're ill. Some illness has come into the house. Maybe they're all laid up in bed. He got worried. So that night, in the middle of the night, he creeped silently down for his mound into the house and had a look around. But to his great annoyance, everybody was fine. They were just lying in bed snoring their heads off. Well, the Hogboon wasn't very happy with this, but he thought, I'll go over to the pot, and that's where they make porridge. I'll get a wee bit of porridge out of it. But when he lifted the lid of the porridge pot, not only was there no porridge in it, it was scraped clean. There wasn't a morsel left for him. Well, then he got mad, and he unhooked the pot off the crook, and he took it away with him back to his mound. The next morning, the wife got up, and she was looking for a porridge pot, but it was gone. What's happened to me pot? Her man had no idea, he'd no seen it. Well, that was only the start of their troubles. They were forever losing things. Whenever they set something down and then they turned around to get it again, it would be gone. You see, that Hogboon, he was a mischievous peedy fella, and he played terrible practical jokes on them. He made their life a misery. Now, the man would try to go down and do a pretty bit of fishing, but when he got down with his bamboo wand, there would be no hooks on it. Hooks would have been stolen. He would hear a pretty laugh for the mound as he gaed by. When the wife baked bannocks and had them cooling on a tray, soon as she'd come back in the house again, they were gone. Life was just no worth living there at Harryhow, and the man kent why. He kent fine it was the Hogboon, and he thought there was no way that they could ever prosper as long as they stayed there, so he gaed to see the laird. And he asked the laird if there was any other farms available on the island that he could rent. And the laird said, well, you're in luck, boy, because there's one that's just become available on the other side of the island. I'll take it, he said. The deal was done, and the man gaed home and started to pack all his goods together. He didn't have an awful lot to pack, it has to be said, because the Hogboon had stolen so many things. He borrowed ponies for the neighbours, and they had clibber saddles on the back of them, a pack saddle with a pannier hanging on it, a big basket. And all the goods was piled in that. And on the front one, there was the ploughed kern, the butter churn. One over there. That's where you make the butter with the shaft going up and down. Wheel. That was in the first saddle. And off they gaed. And the further they gaed, the happier the man was. The more distance that was part between them and Harryhow, the lighter his heart was. Oh, there was a spring in his step. The lavros were singing, the sun was shining. Things just couldn't be better. And then when they get over a pretty bit of ridge, there in front of them was their new home. And oh, the man was so happy. They had finally got rid of that terrible Hogboon. But then, to his horror, the lid of the ploughed kern flew up, and the Hogboon stuck his head out and said, we're getting a grand day for flitting, good man. You see, what the man had forgotten was that Hogboons don't go with the firm, they go with the family. And so I hope that after that, he actually took care of his Hogboon and didn't annoy it any further.
A brilliant story there from Tom, and that is of course the Hogboon at Harryhow. If you want to hear more of Tom's stuff, we would highly recommend it. Go and check him out on Facebook or YouTube at the Orkney Storytelling Festival.
This week it's my turn, and it's a wee tune based on that story that you just heard Tom tell you. So I have named it The Hogboon Hoolie.
No, it was.
It wasn't recording.
No! Harv! It wasn't recording!
Only joking.
Oh my god!